Hi, this is Neil Ross, voice of many of your favorite cartoon characters, and maybe some you didn't care for that much, and you're listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
Welcome to The Pull Bag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pull Bag.
For those of you that don't know this, here on my right, Twin Twist and Cup. On the left are Perceptor and Topspin. My name's Springer, and I'm in charge.
Welcome to episode 114 here inside the Pull Bag. It is time to wreck and roll with myself, TFU and Mike, and joining me is LadyWreck. Hello.
Wreck and roll.
Beatlesdiva. Hello.
Bonjour. Aloha. Hi.
I swear she's not on drugs, folks, but as we
I'm
all
not.
know it.
I'm in a lot of
After
pain, but I'm not on
midnight.
drugs.
And also joining us is Ha-Hee Prime. Hello.
Hey, and I'm hopped up on hot chocolate that I boosted with extra cocoa powder, so, you know.
Nice. Now, did you snip the cocoa powder, or
Oh.
just inject it in right to your veins?
Seriously, in winter, I might as well just inject it.
Okay, so maybe I should have started out with this. Thank you so much to Neil Ross for that opening intro clip.
Yes.
Wouldn't be the Wreckers
yes.
without Springer.
No.
Here.
And I'm just gonna get this right off the top. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I am not being a hypocrite in this review when I say I actually enjoy Springer, because this is the first time in my entire lifetime of being a Transformers fan where I've actually enjoyed the character, where he's not being a home wrecker like he was in Transformers the movie. But anyway, that's a whole other situation. I my entire life, I have never liked Springer. There was one time in G1 that I liked Springer, when he went through the garbage disposal and came out in pieces.
Wait, you can't
Tell
wreck
us
a
how
home
you
if
really
don't-
feel.
You can't. You can't be a home wrecker if you don't have a home. You
Well,
don't have...
of course, Nicole would be the one to take it literally.
No. I like.
Of
Springer.
course,
I like Springer.
Nicole
He's kind of
would
a
be the one
douchebag.
to take it literally. Uh-huh.
Okay, Mike, I guess I do care. I think that you're a really awesome person now that you finally like Springer, because now I'd be like, hey.
Only in this
I was
context,
just
when it
gonna
comes to
say, I was going to throw it down and say, all right, that's it. I cannot do any more of your podcast. Not like my boy.
Right. Okay.
I've always
So
been honest.
this is Last Stand of the Wreckers. This is the main
condensed
story
version.
is. No, this is not the. Oh. I'm gonna strangle all three of you. This is not the condensed.
Kaboom.
Shut up. This is not the condensed version. This is the overall story from issue 1 to 5. This is the digital collected edition from Comixology, which released in June of 2011. There is a hardcover edition that has additional story bits and whatever else, but these 5 issues are essentially the crux of the entire Last Stand of the Wreckers story.
Wait.
What?
If you are a fan of Wreckers and you decide to buy it and read it after this, if you are a fan of it, then you have to go out and get the hardcover, because the hardcover has extra stuff in it that you'll want to read before you read the next series. Just saying.
The Kindle
Okay.
version has it, the extras too.
Oh, it does? All right, good.
Wow. Well, for only $7.99, I guess Comixology really did chip us out of, what is it, 172? Like 50 some odd pages.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Wow.
I have bought almost every version of Last Stand of the Wreckers, so...
Let me get my surprise face on. Whoa, Aimee bought less of the Wrecker stuff. Imagine
More than
that.
once. Did you buy like all 3 versions of the limited edition?
I think so. I'm pretty sure I have it. Oh, I might even have the one that IDW Limited did too.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
know.
There was 3
Oh
different
no,
versions
I didn't
of
get
that.
3 different versions of that. I just got. I don't remember what one. I think it was the black label.
Holy crap, those were not cheap.
No, it was
they're
not cheap,
not.
but it was really good.
But you're like, it was
That's
worth
not-
it.
It was worth it. Let's just say this. Okay, you hear about fans who go out and buy their plastic crack. That is my plastic crack.
Yeah.
Books are my crack, okay?
Yep.
That sounded so bad. Okay.
Wow. We've seen some really screwed up things on this podcast before, but holy crap. Oh my god.
Okay, so I don't go out and buy all the plastic crack, okay? But I do have my crack. And yes, I do have the Springer, the triple changer toy that they had that came out in the Generations line a couple years ago. Yes,
yeah,
I
toy
still
that I
have.
would make out with if I could.
Oh, okay, I didn't go there.
God, we're getting dark.
That is the only
Heather will
toy I
make
have
out with
actual feelings for, but boy howdy.
Heather will pick out the toy, and Amy's on crack. Somehow she's sniffing something. I don't know. She's doing lines on
I put this up on blogtalkradio.com. I'm really going to have to, set this to the R rating. Oh my god.
And you think I'm going to be bad. I'm the innocent one.
Yeah, sure
yes.
you are.
No, Nicole.
Sure you are.
Just made Nicole look innocent. Let's just say that.
That is terrifying. You better dial it back, Aimee.
That is highly terrifying.
I'm the true angel of this podcast.
Right.
Okay, just story time. Story time.
Get to the end of the podcast, we'll make Nicole join the devils.
So
we have
this
cookies in the face shape of Springer.
Watch out, Heather will make out with those cookies.
I'll just eat them in a really enjoying.
What did that take? 10 seconds or less for her to join in already?
Wow, this got really bad really quick.
You guys can't make me laugh.
Yes,
My conditions are really hurting.
Okay, so the creative team on Last Stand of the Wreckers on the story is Nick Roche and James Roberts. The script is done by Nick. Pencils by Nick. Inks by Nick and John Wyckoff. The colors are done by Josh Burcham. Yay, Josh! At least one of them, anyway. Oh man, yeah. This is old IDW because back then the editor was Andy Schmidt.
Yes. He was the one that greenlit this.
Yeah, so props to him for greenlighting it, because that was brave.
But you know what? It was an instant winner. He just had to follow the right thing, that's all.
And we're not going to do the traditional pull bag review of we go through every single page, because there are, in the digital edition, there are 125 pages, people.
Yeah, there's 5 issues, and they're all glorious.
We'd be here for 5 hours, an hour an issue, if we did all.
Oh, wait. You've got Aimee on here. You got to double that, okay?
True, because I would gush about every little instance, and I would point out every little thing. Quite literally, I mean, it would be like, "Hey, Last Set of the Wreckers by LadyWreck." Let's give an in-depth view.
It's a running commentary, people.
Yeah, it would be 5 hours at least.
So
how do you want to run this, Mike?
I know.
Did you just shoot yourself in the foot?
Yeah, pretty much. I have a page and a half, or about 2 pages worth of bullet points that I wrote down as I read this. And how I do this is almost like a running commentary as I'm reading through it. So I pretty much already said my first note. I'm so not a Springer fan outside of this whatsoever, especially in that 86 film.
I know, you're wrong, but that's okay. Everyone has a mistake in their life, and your mistake is not like in Springer. That's okay.
I don't like Starscream half the time either, so there you go, too.
Well, you're not supposed to like Starscream, and you're not a girl, so...
That's...
Hey, I'm a girl, and I was never a fan of Starscream either.
I've always loved that asshole.
Okay, so my first negative about this is it goes back to when I was reading More Than Meets the Eye. There was a couple of issues in early More Than Meets the Eye's run where the time jump happened, and this does that as well. I hate that effect. Let's skip forward 5 bajillion milliseconds. Let's skip backwards 10 bajillion Oh God, I can't stand that time jumping. It's worse than.
That's for people who are just barely getting into the story.
I understand.
You gotta know what happened beforehand.
And we also have to have what's been set up. You know, the fact that you've got Garrus 9 and Overlord has been there for a little while, and you have to see kind of how he set things up. You just jump into it, you're not going to get the impact that, oh gosh, Overlord is like a bad dude. And you know what? He makes even some of the wreckers shake in their, boots. So, which we get to in one of the issues. We're like, oh, they're like, Overlord. They're like, what? You can practically hear a pin drop because they're like, whoa, So it's kind of important just to at least have the setup of why is this bad? Well, because Overlord is a bad dude.
And I think this is one of the best introductions of an evil character I've ever seen, frankly. Because
he's not evil, he's just misunderstood.
Oh my gosh. Not even I will try to redeem Overlord, and I've tried to redeem everybody.
Come on, if you're going to make out with someone, it's got to be Overlord. He's got the lips. Come on.
I am really not that kinky.
Only for Springer. Heather's only kinky for Springer.
Just that one toy.
There are days where I'd say, you know what, Nicole, you're absolutely right. Overlord would be the best kisser. He would probably kiss your lips completely off, But
exactly.
Hey.
Yeah, it would be painful.
No, what's really great about this is it's not just like them saying, okay, Overlord's a bad dude. It's like, no, they prove it.
Yeah.
It's
one of those show don't tell things. Yeah.
And they tell it all, and they tell it even better than just a few short images saying, hey, guys, you'll do what I say because I'm the, anyhow.
Yeah. I mean, they're extremely memorable things. Like Nick's really good at getting to the heart of what's really going to stick in your psyche, from that reaction shot of the, Decepticons being like, oh crap, that's repeated later too. And I always go off to Josh Bertram about Overlord Red. That scene where he flings Fortress Maximus to the crowd, that's incredibly memorable.
And the thing is, it's so simplistic at the same time.
And it's just like seared into my psyche. And I'm like, I mean, Overlord was like a guy that most of us didn't even really know who he was because he's from the Japan series. And so introducing him as a villain we take seriously takes a really skillful, it's a skillful introduction because he goes from a nobody to oh crap, this guy is bad news and has lips. So
yeah, three or 4 pages in. Let me look at it here. 1, 2, 3. No, 5 pages in. You're pretty sure that he's like, oh my gosh, this is bad shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Okay,
so,
Mike, take it away.
So let's see here. Wait, did he just rip his head off? That's almost as evil looking as being cut in half lengthways.
No, I think lengthways gets to a different level.
Lengthways. You
though.
creep Heather out. You just go behind her and just say lengthways.
Dude, guys. So I'm reading More Than Meets the Eye to the kids, and we did get to lengthwise, and poor Seth was like, I think I need my not be afraid medicine.
Oh, how sweet.
No, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you did know about this.
Read that to your children.
I know it sounds so horrible, but yet at the same time, like, honestly, they are having so much fun, and we are having so much fun. But, occasionally we have to deal with serious stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of serious stuff, Verity's on wheels, so she's a human Michael Bay wheelie. Ugh.
Well, let's not insult her like that, because Verity is billions of times. Like, honestly, seriously though, the reason I'm reacting that way is because I want those wheels so bad. I want wheelie feet, but not wheelie feet.
I looked at it more like it was like roller skates, except transforming version roller skates.
Mm. Well, that's a way to get around the ship that's like a mile long.
Yeah, exactly. That was the next thing. They had to make it make sense for her, who is just this little puny. And they do a really great job showing how huge these guys are next to her. Because if she's the same size as, say, you are, Heather, I they are huge.
I know.
And, I think that's...
Although I'm pretty short, so they're probably not quite as big as we think there are. If she's my size.
Back in the day, I remember them wondering, why is there a human in there? And this is something that Nick recently brought up too, as we're getting ready for the next series, is why human? Why is there a human in there? It's like, and this is exactly the reason why. So you can show their size, because now we have something that we can compare it to, because like an average human being is going to be, I'd say, around whatever height that Verity is. So now we see quite quickly how huge these guys are. Which sometimes when you don't have a little human in there to show it, you kind of forget that they are huge. So
if you're that size, though, would you be constantly looking at Robocrotch? I mean,
but it doesn't matter because they don't have anything in there.
Yeah. I know, but
Heather. Thank you for saying that, Heather.
I have firm opinions on this subject.
Tumblr would disagree.
Tumblr disagrees with everything, apparently. Here's the thing for me. It's not that I dislike the character of Verity. I think it's an interesting character to put into this to ground the Transformers a little bit. I just wish the design was a little bit more G1 exosuit, a little less alien looking.
I'm so glad that it's not G1 exosuit. Those things are just kind of whoa.
All right.
I have a quick question though, you guys, because I never even thought about this until somebody brought it up. Actually, probably on the gender podcast we did. How do you guys respond to the fact that she's going around in a sports bra and shorts? Because I just assumed it meant I don't care. I'm on a ship with robots. I'm going to wear what's comfortable. But somebody was like, why does she have to be wearing this? So what do you guys think of that?
I did bring it up at one time on back in the day, the IDW forum, that I wasn't a fan of what she's wearing, but it quite literally looks like she's in her underwear.
Well,
for the most part.
See, I know what you're saying. It's just like she's in outer space. It's got to be pretty cold. But then you got to think, if she's got to get into a suit, she's got to wear something that's kind of form-fitting and easy to maneuver inside another suit.
True.
So.
And it doesn't read as underwear. It reads as workout clothes.
Yeah, she looks like she's going to a kickboxing class.
Yeah.
That's good. That would be that right there. Well, and then the other thing that comes to mind is, you remember back in the day when we all watched Alien?
Yeah.
Ripley was Ripley in her whatever jumpsuit off. That's all they whatever. When they were getting into the machines and stuff like that, I don't know, something about that just kind of works for me, I guess. It was bothersome at first, but I don't care anymore because I just
got to think that she's got to be cold.
See, I think the opposite, because she's surrounded by a bunch of dudes with engines that are going to produce heat.
Yeah.
That's true, too. Oh, there you go.
So I get the impression it's pretty darn warm in that ship.
In space, it's not nearly as cold as you think, because if you get too
that needs to totally be on some poster of like a knockoff alien movie. In space, it's not nearly so cold as you think.
Because you could be close to a sun that could, you could be in a hot area. I mean, you really, that's the deception, is that, it's cold in space. Well, actually, it could be it could be really, really hot. It could be really, really cold. It's a vacuum. It doesn't matter.
And then we get into the movie. Why did Megatron freeze on Earth? Okay.
Oh.
That was the movie.
I know.
Let's not go there. Come on.
Let's not mix continuities here.
Into my records here, please.
Okay, so next bullet point.
When Springer isn't trying to get under RC's chest plate, he's really a badass dude.
That's terrible!
Come on, wait.
Continuity.
When RC's one of the very...
You just
Hey, at least I'm talking about the good movie, not the bad one.
True, but still, if you're gonna knock her for the last point of being in the wrong duty, you have to do it.
He's not the only one that's trying to get under her chest plate. Come on. Really?
No, that's not the only one, but that's the general gist of it. Anyway, when the Wreckers combine, I'm like, huh. If this was like I don't know, 6 months ago, the Wreckers could have been in Combiner Wars.
Dude, I still kind of think a Wreckers combiner would be sort of amazing.
Well, that's what made that line so great.
Yeah.
Is the fact that they didn't combine. And so when they said that, it was like, that was probably one of the best lines ever.
I know.
Most quoted sentence, you know, Wreckers combined.
Awesome.
So.
Dude, are we already there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. At least in my notes, anyway.
You skipped over a whole lot, but that's fine.
Well, I'm sorry. You have 5 hours, Aimee.
I know. You're just going to have to read the comics.
Because I'm not actually looking at the... I'm not looking at the comicsology
right now. Sorry.
Can I make a quick confession, though, while we're talking Wreckers? Okay, so
Sure.
I was reading this, a long time ago, and it was so different from all the other comics that I didn't really know what to make of it. And, it's already established as willing to push things way, way farther than we were used to things being pushed. And poor what's-his-face. Okay, so the two guys that are fighting in the pit for Overlord's amusement, and the one guy wins, and I'm sorry, I can never keep track of what their names are. Oh, his name is Kickoff. And, he, da-da-da. And he wins, and Overlord's like, come to my quarters, and I will allow you to choose your reward. And I honestly thought, I was like, Nick, no, please don't make that canon. That's not okay. No, Nick, do not think. And for like a year, I totally missed that he was the guy that had been killed later, and that, you get to choose either fight him or commit suicide. I missed that. And so I'm just like, so not okay. Anyway, moving on. But thank you for letting me get that off my chest.
Yeah, and this is why Overlord is so evil.
It's honestly because I wouldn't put anything past him. So she's like, yeah, okay. If anybody's gonna invent horrible slash crap, it'll be Overlord.
How do you think he got his luscious lips?
He really does. That's honestly a lot of what makes him so creepy. Is the way he looks and acts, because he's just so smarmy and just like, yeah, you like it. But we're like, no, we don't like it. Yes, you do. No, we don't like it, Overlord.
If anyone ever in animation puts Overlord into a cartoon, you need to get Heather to do his voice.
Yeah.
I don't want to do his voice.
Okay, so obviously, in case anyone didn't realize, this is my first time reading anything pre-Death of Optimus Prime from IDW.
Okay.
Sure, I had that whole episode with Steve Megatron where we talked about the U.S. classics, but that's Marvel and that doesn't count at this point.
Yeah, different continuity.
Yeah, exactly. So this is my first thing More Than Meets the Eye in the book formerly known as Rid. My point here is I finally liked Topspin and Twin Twist. As a kid, I thought they were just gimmicky toys that I had a lot of fun with.
Oh, they were fun. I like them.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I've never had the toys, so I didn't know about them.
They were the jump starters. You basically you have them in their vehicle mode, because I don't remember what the hell the name of the you have them in the vehicle mode. You pull them back, you let them go. They roll over the kitchen floor, and then they'll eventually jump and transform into robot mode and land on their feet.
Oh, that's adorable! Holy crap, that's adorable!
This was actually my first introduction to them, is having them in Last End of the Wreckers. I didn't know anything before that, so I came in here with no idea of any of these characters. Yeah. And you're right, I fell in love with all of them as well. So because they're like the brothers that are like, I could do better. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Get slagged. That's who they are. So
they're like the fanon version of Sideswipe and Sunstreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
Well, what are you waiting for? A starting gun? Go get him! Damn, Overlord.
I love
Damn.
Overlord just because. Like,
Is
he
that
has
your
such
next bullet
character.
point?
Yes.
Jeez.
I know I'm skipping a lot of stuff here, but when I take the bullet points, when I take my notes down, it's pretty much as I'm reading if I find something that I want to mention later. I know I'm going over a lot of the plot, Aimee. I'm sure in a moment I'll ask you when we get to
Just
the end of issue 3. Okay, Aimee,
do a
summarize the
summary?
first 3 issues. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, all right. Better flip ahead and see where it goes to.
Let's see. Saving lives, yes. Dramatic rescues, yes. And having adventures, what's wrong with just having adventures?
I think, honestly, we need to focus. I mean, at this point, people can wiki the story. But the point that the main lasting effect of Last Stand of the Wreckers has been the characters.
Absolutely.
So we totally need to be like, these are the characters and why they have mattered for so long.
Mm-hmm. Wowzer's Gadget, the end of issue 3. Holy hell. The end of issue 3 was just, wow.
When everything just comes into perspective.
Yep, pretty much. It's like, okay.
And this is when you seriously wonder whether or not, is anybody going to make it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, yeah. Sorry, I'm flipping through and I'm seeing the prisoners in their cells, and you've got the one guy just kind of sitting there, and the guy's hung by strings. And there was a part. Okay, while we're skipping around, there's a part much later that returns to that where Overlord has all the prisoners killed, and Nick drew the first guy totally dead with his Autobot symbol stuck in his mouth. And as I was reading this for the first time, honestly, that was the part where I lost it and started bawling. And Nick is like, I laughed so hard drawing that. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, I see why that's funny, but I can't deal with that well because it's such it hits too many real life things for me of taking.
How many times have you gone down the street and seen something like that?
No, but
real life?
well,
Like that?
Currently it's a very ISIS thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But
true.
to take, to capture someone and then take the thing that is the symbol of everything they are,
which for an American would be the picture of the American flag or something like that.
Anything that's them, and just like kill them and shove it in their mouth.
Yeah.
That got to me, and I felt a little silly when everybody else is laughing, but I'm like, that really gets to me. There's a lot of stuff in this that honestly, I usually get to the end of this book and feel a little sick to my stomach because it's not a happy yay yay heroes yay story. But we'll get to the end later. But yeah,
but it says it right in the title, Heather. That's the point. It's their last stand. It's not supposed to have a happy ending.
It's not just that people die. The thing that makes me sick is that you get to the end of it, and what was all that really for? And I am not sure that I think it was worth it. And that's some real life crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
That's kind of the whole point, I think, that people get to is at the very end. I mean, what makes Wreckers so great is the fact that bad things happen, really bad, dark things, but it's wrapped in humor.
Yeah.
And the only way we can read it is because it is wrapped in that humor. Because if you take the humor out, it's so incredibly dark that we would not be able to read it. You wouldn't find any reason to read it.
Yeah.
Because it is hitting on things that are like, bad things, terrible things. I mean, you just go through history and pick out all the worst things that could possibly happen. And that's kind of what's happening here. Yeah. And we're reading it for entertainment. But the reason why we can read it is because of the humor and the camaraderie.
And
the camaraderie
people,
between
meaning robots that don't exist, but people, gosh dang it.
The camaraderie between the characters. Yeah. That's why we love it. That's why it was really smartly done in that they were able to write about such dark, evil things and get you to that end where you're like, was it really worth it?
Yeah.
And the reason why we
and I
can
still
see
don't know.
that
I still
is
legitimately do not know if I think it's worth it.
That's the best thing of all, is the fact that here we are 5 years later and we're still thinking that.
Yeah.
In Transformers, we're still thinking. They've never answered that question. Was it really worth it?
It's still having an impact in the comics, too.
Yeah.
I mean, Overlord's impact in these 5 issues has been dealt for the last 5 years then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's the thing, they hit on the theme between the Autobots and the Decepticons and everything that goes on in here. What makes an Autobot? What makes a Decepticon?
Yeah.
And is it worth it? You know, all of the war crimes, all the things that have happened, all the times where they compromise their values. I mean, those are all things that are hit on in Wreckers.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the first layer of the actual story, but if you actually think about what's going on, that's the second layer. And all the questions that follow after that, you know, lead you down to the third layer. And this is why Wreckers was so great and why we loved it so much, is because it wasn't just a story. It was on the surface, but then it came to these darker and deeper themes that needed to be discussed.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why Transformers, if you can get into it and you can really like it and you really love it and get really into it, that's what keeps us coming back, is the fact that they have these things you want to know. Are they able to solve their problems? Are they able to do that? Are they able to get past this thing that is there? I mean, and I think part of that is because as human beings, I think that's where we are in our society, because we want to say we're civilized, that we're all of these things. But are we really? Are we just on the brink, just like the Wreckers are, of just destroying ourselves? And I think that's the reason why Wreckers speaks to us as human beings. They are robots, but, you know, it says something about us as well. So
just the fact that they are doing fairly brutal things in order to keep the Autobot name looking still pure, to hide bad stuff. I'm just like, ah. You know, it's you know, throwing cannon fodder into this thing to make the Autobots look good, and then you realize that these cannon fodder guys are people that you love.
See, well, that's the whole reason why Nick wrote this, is because he just wanted to take a bunch of no-names and make you love them, and then make you grieve for them. And I want to see Nick cry himself because of that. So.
I really do love that note at the beginning where he's like, I want you to be like, I don't care if Springer dies as long as Iron Fist lives. And I'm like, well done. I totally am.
So we come to the end of issue 3 here, and wow, just this final scene for issue 3 is just creepy.
Endoscopic claw, people.
Oh my gosh.
Endoscopic claw.
The endoscopic claw is not okay.
Every 6 months when I go in to see the dentist, I say, the endoscopic claw.
Dude,
now all I'm thinking of
let anybody forget it either.
Yeah.
And now all I'm thinking of is the aliens from Toy Story, the claw.
Yeah, I've never done well with torture scenes. They're something that I have to kind of avoid in movies because they'll keep me awake because I have an experiential imagination. So even this with robots, I'm like, oh, good, you know, like feeling crap just like drilling down through my esophagus reading this. I'm just like, this is not okay.
I have a problem with teeth too. Anything, it doesn't matter if it's fake or real. Like in Walking Dead, I could watch that no problem. But there was one time I had to turn away, and they were curb stomping a zombie. I'm like, I can't even watch that. Not even for a zombie, I can't even watch it. So this has one of those effects on me too, like, because we've all been to the dentist. Well, at least I hope everyone has been to the dentist at least once in their life. They know how comfortable you are, you know. So people can put themselves into that position and be like, hey.
I think what makes it worse is the fact that it's happening to one of the Wreckers at the same time because of the spark. Now I can't remember what it is. The shared spark that they have.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the effect is. They say it in the comic, but I can't find what page, so I'm not going to go flipping through it crazy and going, I can't remember.
Vicarious perception, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So it's like you're seeing he's just walking along, and they're doing their thing, and then all of a sudden he's like, and you're like, oh crap, what's going on? I think the fact that you only see certain parts, our imaginations go wild because you see how he's in so much pain, and you're like going, Yeah.
So what are some of the story bits you wanted to point out, Aimee?
Do you want me to summarize the first 3 issues?
If it doesn't take 2 hours, sure.
No, okay. All right, so quite literally, we get an introduction to Overlord, like we have already mentioned. The Wreckers gather, and then they're told what their mission is, and they pretty much shat themselves.
Well, because they all know they're not the hero type.
Yeah.
Well,
Clearly.
it's that, like I said, it's that repeated reaction where the Decepticons and the Autobots both have exactly panel layout, words, everything, the exact same reaction to Overlord of oh crap.
Even his own kind are like, oh crap, it's Overlord word, so much crap here. Oh no.
Nicole said they're not the hero type, and all I can think of is Tony Stark from Iron Man 1. I'm not the hero type, clearly.
Awesome.
I thought you were going to start singing We Don't Need Another Hero.
No.
So once they know what their mission is, they get on it. They're on their way there, and we find out more stuff about what's going on, how they are building up, Overlord, and each end of each issue, they've got like a little. At the beginning of the next one, you get to see a little bit more about what Overlord is, how he's set up and whatnot. But at the end of issue 1, we get a Impactor returns to the ship, so they get to have Impactor show up to help lead the forces, and then they basically show up at Garrus 9 and drop down to the surface, only to get their backsides caught. And that's about right where we finish up in issue number 3 is the torture scenes when we reveal that the guys have been caught, and they're in the spark extinction chamber. So they're about to be tortured. So, but we find out soon enough that there is a secondary reason for being there as well. Not just to save the people that are trapped in Garrus 9, where Overlord has come and said, hey, this is my playground, and all of you are going to be my little minions and do what I say. And
Overlord doesn't take his toys and make them kiss. He takes his toys and make them kill each other.
I was just going to say, I don't think I could see Overlord being a Gru-like leader to the minions. I just can't see that.
This would be the twisted, shattered glass version of Guru.
Yeah.
Another cool story thing that they do is that we get to see a lot of the characters doing truly awesome stuff at the beginning. They each kind of get a moment to be awesome, so that when they get taken apart, we feel it more because we've seen them each do awesome things. It's like, wait.
And each one of the characters have something going on. Like with Iron Fist, you don't at first. He's doing these blackout things. You don't find out till later why that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So each there was just little pieces that all fit together, and you get a different thing in each issue, and then in another bit after that, and each time it's like, oh crap, so it builds this up to this point, and then at the very end you're like, oh, and that's why you care about this character, is because he's built up through the whole thing, and then when what happens to him in the end, you're like, oh, sad face.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like you can read this trade and go, dang. And then I think honestly it takes about 3 more rereads to pick up everything.
Everything, yeah. Because I remember this is a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, folks. I remember when we were originally trying to schedule doing this episode.
Yep.
I read the thing, I took my notes, I was like, okay, we can't do it now. Crap. So I went back and I reread. I've read through the thing twice.
Good. You kind of have to read through it. You're right.
Yeah.
About 3 times to really get it, and then read all the other stuff after that, and then everything just begins and ends with Wreckers.
So, Mike, what was it like rereading it?
It was kind of weird. I noticed because when I reread it, I wasn't rereading it to do notes. I was just rereading it to catch myself up on the story.
Yeah.
And some of just some of the little bits, and it's like, oh wow, that's just not. As we get to issue 4, and I look at the cover, I assume everyone here has seen A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wait,
Okay.
I'm totally trying to find the cover. Hang on.
Issue number 4, cover A, is the 5. Yeah, it's 5.
Oh, the guys all looking
The
down.
5, right? They're all looking down. All I can think of is the end of A Knight's Tale, where the 5 characters each have a line. You have been weighed, you have been measured,
Oh, yeah.
you have been absolutely been found wanting.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new world. God save you if it is right that he should do so.
Yeah.
You said cover number 5?
No, number 4.
Number 4.
Oh, okay. That's
Because
why I'm
number
confused.
5 is the gravestones.
Yeah.
Yeah, number no. No, number
No
4.
spoilers there, but last stand,
Wait. Gravestones? So you're telling me this is 90s X-Men all over again? Oh boy. Bishop went back to the past and screwed it up for everybody. I just love the way Nick crafts the dialogue for some of these guys. Hold this, stay there, and get ready to take notes. Oh, damn. He hit him in the head. Oh, crap.
bullets.
Mike,
Weird
did you
green
know
bullets.
why Guzzle hates Cup?
No.
Oh.
Because that was something that I didn't pick up on, and even though I'd read the issue, there was a Cup
Bullets.
spotlight that came out where
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember reading the Cup Spotlight.
yeah, and Guzzle is mad because a ton of his friends were some of the guys who went to try and retrieve Cup, and Cup killed them.
Oh.
And
Because
that's
he
why
was going
Guzzle's
crazy
just like,
because he was going
Yeah.
crazy because of the other. That's why he sucks on the Saigar, because he keeps
Yeah.
on hearing these crystals sing, and so that's it. When he didn't have
Saigar
the
gives them
what was
control.
yeah
the Saigar is
keeps
like
it under
a
control.
low-level drug
Yeah,
that keeps him, But yeah,
To
there's
keep
like,
him sane.
Basically.
yeah,
yeah.
there's
All
there's
of
a
these characters
whole,
are so messed up.
yeah.
I mean, you want to know about Rotor's backstory?
Oh man, that gave me such
Just
trauma.
imagine-
That was why I hated Whirl so bad. Like when I started reading More Than Meets the Eye, and I was behind, and a friend of mine got to issue 6 and was like, "It's gonna make you love Whirl." I'm like, I hate Whirl hard because that crap that he did to Rotostorm, that just like pushes my hate buttons.
Because I love Rotostorm. He's my favorite character in the Wreckers.
I know
And
he
no surprise,
is a precious
He's
cinnamon
the first
roll.
one to go.
Yeah,
So, because I love that he has such a smart mouth.
I know.
Because I feel like if I was in that same situation, I would try to lighten it up as like Rotostorm did. Like, oh, okay, I'll be the funny one.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
He didn't even get a chance to even think it. He was laughing.
I
and then
know.
boom, that was it.
Wow.
Brain grade
Nicole
matter
said-
all over the place.
Nicole says that, and all as I can think of is if he were still alive today.
If he was so much-
No. Not Rotostorm, but if the person that I'm going to reference here is still alive today, he would be perfect for Rotostorm's voice. Rodney
Ugh.
Dangerfield.
Oh.
I get no respect.
Awesome.
The other one big nitpick that I had for this series was, sorry, Nick and James, but I find the Squadron X-Bots names to be very lame.
Right.
I think that was something that was already done in previous stuff. Actually, I don't think.
Oh,
It has
yeah.
anything,
Okay.
I don't think they chose all the
Okay.
names. I think that Squadron X might have something from Marvel.
Or
Or it's
Costa.
not.
You
No, absolutely not Costa, because this actually happened before Costa was actually on the
damn.
going. So actually, that's when he
Wait,
first
to the wiki.
Yeah, because I remember either probably Nick saying something about doing the same thing with Squadron X that he did with the main characters in this series, where he just grabbed totally random D-list Decepticons
Yeah.
and went, these guys are going to be Squadron X, which is why they all look super weird.
But no, it wasn't Costa, because at the time when this came out, Costa's ongoing and Wrecker's 2, I believe, like Costa's issue number 1 and Wrecker's number 2, I think were out the same month. So they, at that point, there was no sharing between writers. They weren't like, hey, Costa, are you using this character and this character? They were just given a list of, hey, these are the people we want to use, and somebody would green light it or say, no, you can't use that. No, you can't use that, and that would be it. They wouldn't know that it's like, oh, this other writer's actually using that character, you know? So
actually, Squadron X, this is their first appearance.
This was their right. Sorry, people, to disappoint you if you're out there. Well, you should know all this stuff. Hey, I'm not Chris McFeely.
No one's McFeely here.
Yeah, this is why we
there
have.
There is but
one
wiki. McFeely.
That's why McFeely does the wiki.
Yeah. So
Dude,
that everybody else can
still
says, see what's inside his brain. It's in the TF wiki.
Yeah, remind me to tell you a funny story later about that.
Okay.
Well, okay, fine. I will just tell you. My littlest son, Magnus, still says self-indulgent pish as a swear word. I told them, I'm like, here is a great swear word that you guys can say.
That sounds like something that came out of Chris's mouth. Is that what you're saying?
It's totally, yeah, it was, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm giving that to the children to say, because boy, they need some swear words they can say.
Oh my gosh.
And so
it's going to be laughing his arms off at this point.
Hearing a 6-year-old doing an imitation of my bad imitation of an Irish accent is pretty
You didn't let him the sound bite of it?
What?
You didn't let him hear the sound bite of that?
No, because it was too hard for me to go back and find. Like, I know which podcast it's in.
Gotcha.
But I didn't feel like, you know, you have children, you got to grab, like there was, this weird time where I'm like, okay, here, as a swear word you may say this, you'll get a kick out of it. And he has just glommed onto it.
Wow.
Anyway, moving on. Just had to share. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I'm sure McFeely listens to this show.
I'll make sure he
listens to a lot.
I'll make sure he does. I'll let him know. He's like, hey, we mentioned you in this podcast. You'll get a kick out of it. Yeah.
Oh boy. So let's see. We get the. Where the hell am I here?
Just talked about the background of Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, the background of Cup.
Yeah. And why Guzzle hated him so much.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you're right, it wasn't really explained in there, but you really didn't need to know too much. You just need to know that Guzzle had a bone to pick with him. And
there's a lot of layers to this.
One
where you
little
can read
quip,
it and go,
okay,
and then you just dig
there's
deeper
only
in.
One little quip between the two of them that was kind of like really loaded, which if you knew, you understood why. Oh, here it was.
I hope it was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, where he's talking about some good friends. Some things happened to some good friends of mine as they were killed trying to save another bot's tailpipe. And he's like, hey, I hope the guy was worth it.
Yeah.
It's like, depends on who you ask. And he's got this dark look in his eye, and you're like going, oh, man. Yeah. That was in issue 3, by the way.
Okay, super random thing. Does anybody else get confused at the picture of Topspin and Twin Twist's kind of death? I have never been able to figure out what the heck I was seeing in that, because it just, I mean, I can sort of tell, but it's just weird.
Yeah,
sure.
it is kind of odd. It's one of those odd things, but
I think part of it is because, and I hate myself for never remembering which one is what one, but the guy who shoves his arms into the suicide lock is standing up, and the guy who, poor little dude on the table being endoscopic clawed, is lying down. So there's like somebody sort of standing and doing the arc, shield, eyes, but I can't even tell what I'm looking at, where he is. Yeah, okay. Anyway.
It's supposed to be kind of like a
I have
conceptual
spent
thing because
way too much time looking at that panel, and it's like a big panel. It's like 8x8, and I'm still just like, I don't get it.
it's the biggest one on the page, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really an odd one, but it probably took more time looking at it for me to go, oh, now I get it. It's like cut in half, and half is one and half is the other.
And it's like, I get
and their
it, but
spark is exploding, and it had to kind of be a little bit of a conceptual thing because they are like right next to each other, like distance from each other, and poor guys.
I know. We must love them. Gosh dang robots.
That was one of my notes, was that they finally, again, because I only know them from the jump starters from the toys, they finally made those characters emotionally jarring.
Well, I mean, that's the whole purpose of this book, though.
I know. I'll give this series one thing. The cliffhangers from issue to issue are just getting better and better.
Agreed.
What else did you want to say about the remaining issues, Aimee? Because I know you have a lot to say.
Do you have any more bullet points?
I've got a couple, but they're mainly lines from the end of the book.
Okay. All right, well, I'll just kind of... The subplot of what they were there to find, they were supposed to be there to help save the people that were... The Autobots that were left on Garrus 9, which is the prison that they were there to help get the Autobots that are left there. Well, they find out that... There ain't nobody left.
Yeah.
But the secondary mission was that there's this thing called Equitus, and they are supposed to go there and get something from it, and that's orders from Prowl, who is... Up until now, we thought, oh, Prowl's a bad guy. Well, we read this, and we're like, oh, golly, Prowl is bad.
Prowl's
he knows
just a
way
douche.
too much.
I missed G1 Prowl.
Wait, what'd you say, Nicole?
He's a douche.
Oh.
So, they find out what Equitus is, which I'm not going to spoil it. If you know it is, you know it. So, if you don't, then go read Last Stand of the Wreckers, doggone it. If we haven't gushed about it enough, if we haven't given you this podcast to prove that you need to go read it, then I don't know.
If you've never spoke to Aimee for more than 5 minutes, you know.
I would phrase that as less than 5 minutes, because I mean, come on.
I have been to so many conventions where I've brought random issues of Last Stand of the Wreckers. If somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I don't know anything about Transformers," I said, "Are you reading the comics?" "No, what are those?" I'm like, "Here, read this." I have made so many one-time instant, like, join up fans, like with one or two issues of Last Stand of the Wreckers, that it's been fun. I have a whole bunch of them that have started to follow me on Twitter right afterwards to say, okay, here's your issue, here's my my Twitter, and here's where you can go and read more stuff or hear more reviews about it at the Underbase. I'll just give them all my credentials and say, okay, have a nice day, I'll see you in a couple days.
Yeah.
Or I'll see you in a couple months. And usually they find me, and we get back into comics after that. But yeah, it's been my calling card. It's like I always bring a couple issues of Wreckers. Of course, I say that now, and I'll probably have somebody come up to me the next convention and say, "Where's my Last Stand of the Wreckers issue?" And I'll be like, "Oh,
just say you gave it away. You're too late."
Yeah. Now I'll have sins of the Wreckers to give. So, but the thing is that So we find out about Equitus, right? We find out what that is. The guys find a way to release the some of the Wreckers didn't get caught, so let's just say that. And they get their friends out, and then they go crazy on Overlord, or is it Overlord crazy on them? But we also find out that the past things between Impactor and Springer, why they are kind of at odds to each other, and why bad things happened back in the day. You know, why Wreckers are they're cool, but they have a dark past. And part of it is because of Impactor. So you find out about that. And then some people die. Some people might download a certain Equitus trial, all of the Equitus files to their brain. And then some people might lose their face.
A lot of people lost their faces in this.
True. And then we get to the very end where they finally get off. They get off of Garrus 9.
Survivors.
We find out who
few.
survived and who didn't. Yeah. And I'm not going to say what happened to some people because, like, hey, you need to read it. It's just epic.
Yeah, you need to read it, folks.
That last page is very haunting. Because you look through Verity's eyes as well. You know?
Yeah, so at the very end.
You're just like, it's just heartbreaking. It really is.
I agree. Well, there's a couple of things that would break your heart of the very end. But in the very, 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 very last page, we find out that everybody's gone back their way. The Equitas files have been given to the Autobots that need to be given. They need to be given to, and Verity goes back to Earth, and she may or may not have a she may or may not have a copy of it.
Does it show that? I don't think it shows that in the comic. I think you only get that in some of the extra stuff. Because I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
I don't see any image of her having that little jump drive.
She got it from Iron Fist.
Yeah,
I know that, but I don't know.
Yeah. How big is that jump drive, though? I mean, it could be like the size of a briefcase.
Yeah, it is
it's
like
a small drive for the robots. But
let me find the little extra comic that shows. Yeah, it's huge. It's like the size of a laptop. She's got it.
Yeah. So maybe that's her laptop.
No, it's totally not. It's the thing.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Before Aimee said it was the files, all I can think of is, oh my god, she has an early draft of Thundercrapper's script.
It's so funny.
I'm sorry. I want a whole comic of that.
I don't even specifically or particularly love Thundercracker more than I love, most dudes. But for some reason, you're like Thundercrapper, and I felt myself leaping to his defense.
Well, I'm not saying it in a negative way. It's an inside joke that Aimee and Nicole probably don't even remember. This was
I was high on my
yeah,
and I actually said it. I said Thundercrapper.
That's where it came from.
Oh,
yeah, and I think I was actually saying it in defense of him. It's just like, you leave Thundercrapper alone.
It's really funny. He kind of does. That's his special power.
This happened during a Showtime Synergy. We were supposed to be starting to do the I think it was either the plot point or whatever for Hollywood Gem Part 2, I think. Or Part 1, I forget. I'll have to go back and find the clip. And I might actually put it at the end of this, just to give people a laugh and see what Nicole was like a year and a half ago.
I was really
changed too much, yeah.
I'm drunk. I've had surgery again, and I'm not drunk right now. But
she's built up a tolerance. They practically have to knock her down with a big iron, one of those tire iron to be able to get her to, feel anything at this point.
Exactly. I'm none from the nose down.
Oh, God.
Crap, I have so much stuff I want to talk about, and I'm trying to keep a lid on it.
No, well,
Bring
if
it up.
it pertains to the comic, go ahead.
Okay.
Open
right.
up that lid and just give us a little smell.
Okay.
Before you start, where is it? Does it show it in the comic that Verity has a copy of it?
It's not in the actual comic. I went back and checked. It's in one of the extra.
This is one of the extras in the hardcover.
It's the one called In Word and Deed. In the hardcover, it's the very last one.
Gotcha.
And it's yeah. So it just shows that she's got it, but it's written by Nick. So
yeah, it was written by Nick, lettered by Transformers fan, and colors by Chris Carter. Okay, right, yeah, you're right. So that was an extra. So that's what you find out later, is that she had a copy of it. And if you don't know that, don't worry, because in Sins of the Wreckers, I'm sure that he's going to make reference.
Sure, they'll address it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I haven't seen any previews or any. Well, I've seen the previews and stuff for BotCon for Sins of the Wreckers and all that, but I'm wondering, like, how is Nick gonna open that first? Like, because
Have you not seen the preview?
Not the
preview of Sins.
I've seen the BotCon stuff, yes, but I haven't seen the actual IDW preview because it's not out yet. But
it was out in New York Comic Con, and those got leaked onto the internet. You haven't read it yet?
I've seen bits and pieces, but I didn't actually read it because the images weren't that great.
All right, I'll hit you up afterwards.
Okay, but what I'm saying is after reading this, and this was what? This comic was what? Longer than 5 years ago that it came out. At this point, I mean,
5 years. It's been at least.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been 5 years since this was originally released. So it's one of those things where 5 years later, they're now going back and telling, not necessarily, I don't want to say a follow-up, more of a sequel, a continuation kind of thing. And it's like, holy crap, how are they going to rake in the new readers? That's what I'm wondering here.
They'll rake in the new readers because Aimee and the rest of us will grab them by the throat and like shove comics down them. Okay, so somebody's like fan turned on or something, and through my headphones it was full endoscopic claw, and I like could not stop shuddering. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that noise? Stop! I'm like, I can't deal with it, you guys. Okay.
Heather's getting her real life torture scene right now.
Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Because I opened to this page, I've got to tell you guys about this. So, remember, I didn't read this when it first came out. I waited to buy the trade, and so I kept seeing all this stuff online and being like, whoa. So anyway, the panel that has Overlord ripping Impactor's harpoon out of his eye, all I saw was just like that panel zoomed in that I think Josh Burcham did as like wallpaper.
Yep.
That he posted on DeviantArt. And I legit thought that it was Overlord just like slicing his own eye open to prove how hard he was. And I was just like, because it was eyeballs and knives. And I'm just like, and I'm still slightly disappointed that he was just ripping it out, like that Impactor stabbed him in the eye and all he was doing was ripping it out, because it was so much cooler when he was just like, yeah, I'm this hard, I can like slice my own eyeball. Just to prove how hard I am.
Overlord's into self-mutilation.
He's a sadomasochist. He's totally a sadomasochist.
Put it past him. That's the truly creepy and masterful thing about his characters. Like, oh yeah, totally, he knows everything. But, like, okay.
I mean, like, you'd be like, hey, was I supposed to feel that?
Messed up. But also, can we talk about the part where they make the decision, do we blow everybody up, including Impactor, or do we not? And I still, to this day, am not sure they made the right choice. Because, more people I care about died than would have if they had done that. But at the same time, it wouldn't have killed Overlord.
No, it wouldn't have. He would have survived that.
I'm conflicted. There's so many, like, really hard moral questions in this. It's a very challenging book.
It's a very fun challenge, but yeah, it's just one of those things where, people, in general, people will look at Transformers and be like, oh, those explosive Michael Bay movies? No.
Yeah.
Character depth, people. If you want character depth, stick with the comics, because actual character building happens.
And then they kill them and make you cry.
Yeah, well,
they make you care about every single one of them, only to make you cry when they are gone.
But it's not just it's not just like it's not just I'm gonna manipulate you into thinking. It's not watching a chick flick type of gonna make you care and then make you cry. It's a it's really think about stuff and I'm gonna do things that trouble you.
Well, it's cause and effect. Like, the twin twist and topspin's death. All that stuff that happened with that, and the whole thing with Equitas and all that. But it's just, it's not, like you said, Heather, it's not a chick flick kind of feeling. It's one of those things where, okay, think of it in terms of action movies, and I know I've referenced the Bayverse several times in this episode, but I'm going to reference another Michael Bay movie. Think of it when Bruce Willis died in Armageddon. Of course, you cared about the character through the whole damn movie, and he's sitting there making that sacrifice so everybody else can
Yeah, but there was an element
survive.
of cheese, I think, in that. There was this element of cheese. Think of Band of Brothers. They're going in to save people, and then on the way out, people die, and you've gone through half the movie trying to you fallen in love with all these guys that are they're total bros with each other, and now they're dying at each other's feet just for a mission. That's what this is that they're quite literally, they went in on a mission to get to do two things: save their fellow Autobot brothers, knowing that they're not even sure if anybody's left, and two, to get the files from the Equitas.
Right.
And top secret files. Just think of it, top secret files, okay? And what happens? Who's left standing at the very end? There are a few. We're not going to say who because you've got to go read it. But yeah, people make it out, but a lot of people die. And just like in Band of Brothers, they made you love the characters because they were bros. They were there. They were doing a job. They were doing their duty. These guys are doing the same thing too. And so on the way out, there's no cheese. There's no, I love my daughter, so I'm going to give up my life for her. No, it's like, dude, we came in here knowing this is probably a fruit that we're all going to die, but they did it anyway. So
I was more so meaning the scene after they got home and they showed the pictures of who died.
Yeah.
That's what I was more so meaning from Armageddon, not the actual,
scene where he's saying, sorry, sweetheart, I'm not coming back. And you're like,
yeah.
Yeah, there was a little bit of melodramatic in that. But yeah.
Overall, I love this story. I wasn't sure how, because I have this big aversion of any kind of classic style art, like art before the year 2000. It's just not my thing whatsoever, because I just can't, like I said, back in Marvelous March this year, Steve Megatron and I covered the IDW Volume 1 of the Marvel run, which is the first 13 issues of Marvel, and the red, white, yellow, black, and blue. Oh, God, all those damn...
Printing press was a little different back then, so yeah.
Yeah, I know, and I can't fault that. I'm just saying, I can't read comics like that.
The reason why comics like that were read is because there wasn't anything else.
Yeah,
so.
No, I know.
I feel you, Mike. I get it, because I have a hard time dealing with that style of art too, because I'm spoiled.
Yeah, I think it's because I have no problem with it because I was reading comics back in the day, so it was
that's true. If you have practice at taking in that, I really do notice a difference in even different artists working today. There's some that I'm better at reading and internalizing their art than others.
Right.
And the older comics, they exercise a few different mental muscles that I haven't honed yet.
Yeah.
And so it's harder for me to, dive in and experience. But every so often there will be some that I'm just like, oh man, there's this one panel in the old Marvel books, and when they were doing the anniversary special covers, I think it was Casey and JP did like an homage to that, and I'm like, I need it.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, it's
That's
the one
awesome.
where Prime's kneeling over Scorponok's dead body, and that one panel in Marvel, I was like. And then, they do this whole poster. I'm like, I need it. Oh, my gosh, guys. Here's money. Give it to me now.
What? You're only charging $5? You could have gone me for 20, and that type of thing.
Oh, they were charging 20, and I gladly handed it over. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, Last Stand of the Wreckers. It's pretty epic. If you don't read it, I can't convince you.
That's all right.
Yeah, there you go.
Nicole's like, yeah, that's all right.
No, it's a really good read. I mean, how many times have we read this, and it still has that same. Okay, it probably won't have the same impact as the first time you've gone through, but it still has meaning. Even it pulls at your heartstrings, even though you know what's coming. You're just like, no, it's got to change.
I certainly look at Overlord a little bit differently because after this, More Than Meets the Eye, the issue where he gets loose on the Lost Light, there were other things in there. There are you find out other things, like you find out what Fortress Maximus went through. You find out just how, all of the little stuff where they're like, okay, you've got Overlord, he does the bad things, but then you break away to other stuff and your imagination kind of stews on it. Well, then More Than Meets the Eye, they kind of showed one of the rooms and how he kind of disemboweled people, and I was like, there's stuff all over the walls. I mean, they kind of took it to the next level in the sense that hey, let's get a little peek of what that looked like, right? For one panel. And that just brings the whole thing flooding back going, oh gosh, I knew Overlord was bad. But then I saw that and I knew even more. He was just that much more demented. And then we find out the backstory of Overlord as well in More Than Meets the Eye. So it's this is the starting point. And then you read all of More Than Meets the Eye and you go, oh yeah, there's a whole lot more to be revealed. And it does. It gets revealed. So it's this is the place to start.
Yeah.
This is why I always give out issues of it.
Yeah. It's funny, honestly, that bit in More Than Meets the Eye didn't really add anything to me because it was almost like just showing the thing that my imagination had already filled in anyway. Because the one panel in Records where you see, oh my gosh, it is so disturbing to me, where you see poor Fort Max plugged into the door, and he's had his arms and legs ripped off, and he's just this horrible scream face on. Between that and the scene but between the scene that and the scene where he gets flung to the crowd and Overlord's just try not to kill him. Oh. All I can do is make sort of horrified sounds, but oh man. Yep, I have a great imagination. It works really well, and it wasn't helpful to me at that point.
It was just,
so I was just oh yeah, all that stuff totally happened. That was in fact slightly milder than what I was picturing.
Oh, jeez.
I don't even know what I was picturing, but just much more death by 1,000 cuts than just, oh, here, I'm just going to rip off an entire limb. I'm like, oh, good, that's better than finger at a time.
Well, we've sufficiently creeped the hell out of Heather.
That's basically what this book exists for, just to really freak
apparently.
out.
All right, so let me ask you ladies this. Who's better at making every Transformers comic fan cry, Nick or James?
James, I'd say.
They're the same.
Okay. I actually was putting thought into this, Mike.
I did too. 3 days ago when I was in the shower, I was like, okay, because I was asking myself questions, and I always get all my best ideas when I have water falling on my head.
Yes.
So, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? James goes for the heart. Nick goes for the jugular. So yeah, whether you're dead. So they're two different sides of this same exact coin. It's just pick your poison. Which do you like to go out with? The heart, a shot to the heart, or a slash to the jugular? Which is it?
See, yeah, I would kind of agree with Aimee. I think honestly, okay, so James will do stuff that will make you sad and make you cry and go for the feels. But he tends to leave you at the end of his story arcs with a good feeling, for which I'm grateful. Thank you, James. Thank you. Still super grateful that 21 ended the way it did. Thank you for not killing Tailgate. Oh my gosh. Okay. Nick.
But he almost killed Rung. And I remember the sick feeling I had and how everything, all of the heat and life was cold and dark and everything. Yeah, so James is fully capable of making you cry and leaving the dark.
He will end it okay. Nick will give you stories that are really messed up and leave you in the messed up place. Because
so you'll have nightmares forevermore.
At the end of Wreckers, everything is not okay. They showed up to rescue prisoners, and because they showed up to rescue prisoners, all the prisoners were killed. And their other mission was basically, like I was saying, just to, make sure the Autobots didn't have their, pristine image tarnished, which really is another, real life not okay thing. And I also, I keep bringing up the Megatron spotlight, but that is messed up slag! It's, really messed up. And not because I'm, a megastar fangirl, because I'm not, but I'm just
Yes, don't even sit there and deny it. Yes, you are.
I'm really not, because I wrote those guys, and they are not okay.
I have audio proof that you are a mega fangirl.
No, I am, but I'm not a fan of
totally
those two
that.
getting it on. I don't think they get it on. But yeah, just
whoa! Who on what?
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 I'm saying I'm not the whole I'm such a nerd, you guys. The whole terms for different pairings. So I said I'm not a megastar fangirl. I'm not a person that ships Megatron with Starscream.
Okay,
I
no.
thought you were saying Nick and James shipping. I was like,
no, oh my gosh.
Wait a second.
See, that's just inherently funny, and yes, that's very
crazy, actually.
It's really funny. Oh my gosh, super, super funny. Some blessed person on the internet for an English assignment that was how to do dialogue wrong wrote this amazing story about about James Roberts and John Barber riding bikes together.
Oh, God.
And it was the funniest thing. I'll have to find it and send it to you. It is hilarious. It's not a slash thing. It's just a horrible dialogue. My name is John Barber, said John Barber. I am riding a bike, he said.
So basically it's Thundercrapper.
Yes, exactly. It was... Yeah, every so often the internet will cough up something that I'm just thank you, people, for making my day better.
And I might have remembered that somebody out there might have wrote a real ship of real people, which I think is,
I know it exists because
I've never read it.
I've never seen it either, but I know it exists.
I've heard rumors, and I have kind of, bashed it a little bit, so, yeah.
It's just...
one thing if you do it to characters that are not real. It's another to do it to people that are actually real people. So that's why I was like, there's got to be a line in the sand somewhere. And but I will totally claim and own that of being the mega fan. I love Nick. I love James. I love John too. I mean, I'm not gonna leave him out of it either. I love them all equally. But yeah. Completely thrilled. I've met them several occasions, and I totally claim that I'm a pretty big fan of theirs. So
yeah.
See, well, I'm a huge fan of John because he's the one that got me back into comic book reading. So it's all his fault. Yeah.
I am a fan of his for driving the ship, but not that ship, not that kind of ship.
So you're the first mate then.
Ahoy, Shmee.
I wish I was the first mate. I hardcore wish I was the first mate.
Oh my god.
If I'm the captain, then you can be my first mate, Heather.
Wait.
Oh my gosh, Aimee, I'm such a snot. I'm like, no, you can't. I'm just as cool as you. You can't. I'm such a snot. I don't follow well. It's why I pretend to be Prime and I don't pretend to be one of the other Autobots. So I'm like, no.
Take your own ship. There you go.
Yeah, all of my.
I'm Commodore. I have rule over all.
Oh man, you guys.
Nicole said ahoy, Shmee. All I can think of, and I know this is bad, but all I can think of is, may the man rest in peace. All I can think of is Bob Hoskins. Smee.
What about Smee?
What about Smee?
What about me? Oh man.
Awesome sauce.
Dude, it's terrifying how old that movie is.
1991. 25 years next year.
Awesome sauce. Bang bang!
Yay! Yay!
Oh God. Aimee, what are your overall final thoughts for Last Stand of the Wreckers?
You have to buy it. You have to buy at least two versions of it. I don't care if it's digital and a hard copy, whatever. But I'll try to tempt you a little bit. There is a hardcover that is available on Amazon for. Let me see.
Go find like the used price because you can get some for cheap.
$20. For $20, you can own it. And there are two really awesome short stories that are in there that continue, flesh out a little bit more. One called Bullets, the other called 0 Point. You have to read it. It's so good.
They're really good and not just filler.
Yeah. They actually continue the story and fill it in. All the little questions like, well, how do these guys meet each other? What's going on? You know, what's all this deal with this and that? And yeah, it'll explain more. Then they, of course, have, like, you know, a couple of mosaics. They have some... the toy declassifieds of each of the characters. I think most of them. I don't remember every single one of them. But you have to read those too because there's little tidbits of stuff in every single one of them, and they're quite hilarious. They're not just like throwaway. They're really pretty cool. And then of course they have all of the covers from every single issue, and then they have a whole bunch of art that they kind of put in there and some script extracts. So basically, quite literally, they have everything in here: promotional artwork, pinups. They have a couple drafts. They have. It's just good stuff. Yeah. If you don't get it, you're going to be, like, sad.
I like the little character pages that they have.
Yeah, like character profiles as written by Ron. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was the other question I was going to ask, even though I already asked Aimee for final thoughts. But can you imagine the entire Wreckers team in a group session with Ron?
Would be amazing. Someone needs to write that.
James would have to write that, to be honest.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of really great stuff in here. I've got prints of most of the prints that they have actually in here, to be honest. A couple of the artists that have, like the Overlord one by Nick Roche. I quite literally. I got the original for the Overlord that Andrew Griffith put an art piece in here, and he scanned it in and did some stuff on the computer. I got the original. Sketch that he did.
Holy dang.
Yeah, so it doesn't have everything on there like the offline and all that stuff, but yeah, it's pretty nice. I like it. But yeah, and you can still find every once in a while a couple pages of the Wreckers out there. I've bought like 6 or 7 of myself.
Dude, that's awesome, Aimee. I'm gonna have a small jealous moment, but I'm glad you own them.
Yes. You can clearly tell.
Are you surprised out of all the people you know that she would be the
one?
Oh,
I'm not surprised at all.
You know, hey, I might know a few other places where you might be able to get some pages, so contact me on Twitter. It's LadyWreck.
Dude, my favorite random bonus thing in here is the part where Nick's like, yeah, okay, so you know the part where Impactor was walking down the hallway? I totally drew him dragging his harpoon along the wall, but he didn't get it until the next page. So they had to so the page looks a little bit weird. He's just kind of walking with his arm out because they had to take out the harpoon dragging along the wall. It's really funny. It's just nice to be like, you know what? They're not perfect. Occasionally they go, nope.
Yep.
It's cute.
They're not perfect. That's right.
Yeah.
They're just
seriously
guys
everybody
having fun, just like the rest of us. Like,
yep.
You know, when you're talking about the part where he was laughing, you know, when they shoot up the guys and all that, that's such a Nick thing because he's thinking, you know how many people are going to be out there going, oh my gosh, he did it for for that factor.
Yeah. And yeah, that is the thing about Nick's art is that even when it's like truly horrific, there's such a joy in it. That there really is. And even in his writing when it's horrific, it's not grimdark. He's a very silly, funny young man whom I love.
It's all about the humor. It is so all about the humor. You can take the terrible stuff because the humor factor kind of it lightens it, and you're like, it doesn't make fun of it, but it just makes it you can accept it a little bit better. Like at the very end, he's like, well, people died, but it was funny.
Yeah, and like not to trivialize it, but it really does make it so that you can get through this and deal with, really putting some pondering into, deep moral questions.
Yeah.
In a way that you can't when you're reading, like, The Killing Joke or something, which I've read once, and I don't go back and read it because it's dark and not fun.
You don't have to go back and read it after next year. Because you can just go watch it, because they're making The Killing Joke.
No, they won't make it correctly. Just go and read
I
it.
don't care.
Come on.
I don't watch stuff.
Okay, so this is the thing, and I'll get Nicole and Heather's final thoughts in a minute. This is the thing that I had a thought of while we're doing this. Everybody knows of the DC Universe animated original movies that they've done over the last 8 or 9 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine, and you'd have to have a pretty big damn imagination, because let's face it, Hasbro doesn't want to do anything. Heather can do it, but Hasbro doesn't want to do anything for the fans when it comes to certain things. But instead of rebooting or having new cartoon series every couple of years, imagine them allowing whatever studio they want to use to do animated Transformers films adapted from the comics.
I know, it'd be cool.
It'd
be really cool.
Definitely something that they'd have to target to fans. I know that.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of the DC Universe films. They're all PG-13 for the most part, and they're not for kids. They're not for everybody. Let's face it. Heather, I'm kind of scared and glad you read more than meets the eye of your kids, but I'm sorry, I would never read Last Stand of the Wreckers to any of my kids.
I have read, I think, maybe an issue or two.
But the whole thing on the whole level, yeah.
But my kids are younger than her kids, so.
Yeah.
And it really matters. Like, you have to know your kids and what they can handle, and
yeah.
Because there's definitely people that I don't know if I'm gonna. Yeah, there's a lot of things where I'm like, this would be fun to read, but not that. I mean, we spice it back, and every so often we'll intersperse something else, and so I've been like throwing in some of the spotlights when we need a dose of humor. So tonight we read the Spotlight Orion Pax, which is funny.
You need a real dose of humor. Get the new series based off the cartoon series written by Georgia Ball and done by Priscilla.
I know. I hear that's really funny, and
it's so good.
Actually good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I need to go pick it up.
So,
Quick funny story though about reading. So we got to the end of 16, right? And when I read that, it like sort of destroyed me. I just kind of lay there going, I can't deal with any more of this, James. I really can't. Next issue, you got to do some fun adventure time, because I'm done with the feels, bro. And so I get to the end of reading that, and I read it like literally hugging various children. Like, I've got the little ones snugged in beside me, the big one reading, like sitting on a chair behind me. I'm sitting on the floor, and everybody's kind of snugged in. And we get to the end of 16, and everybody's literally just like lying on the ground, being just dead. And my daughter's like, next time, can we read a funny one?
That's when you bring out force field face.
Yes, that is literally what we did. I'm like, force field face next time.
All right, Heather, final thoughts on Last Stand?
It's really good. Go buy it. Like, it's used for $12 on Amazon. Go buy it. More Than Meets the Eye is really good.
I know that you're like, go buy it cheap, but at the same time, I'm like, it's so worth it to buy it full price too.
Oh,
Just saying.
Well, the only reason I say that is for people.
Not bad.
The only reason I bring it up is to be like, I spent a lot of years not being able to afford comic books at all. Yeah. So, like, here it's not. You can get it cheap. And if you don't want to get the hardcover, I'm sure that the regular one is even cheaper. I bet you can buy it.
Yeah, it is. It is. The trade paperback is also available still.
Yeah.
So.
There are a lot of good comics. This one is worthy on a lot of levels. The writing is amazing. The art is amazing, and the story is not just giant robots punching each other. And we say that about a lot of Transformers comic books lately because we are living in a glorious age. But it is really, worth some thought. So,
There's something for everyone in Transformers nowadays. So
yeah, and this one is well, but at the same time, I will tell people, don't just dive into this thinking that you can read it like a regular comic book, because it asks a lot of you. You got to really pay attention, and it's gonna kind of rip you open a little bit. And yeah, so it's a very demanding comic, but it's really rewarding despite the whole trauma. So yeah, good stuff.
Nicole, final thoughts?
Again, I'm gonna pretty much repeat what the other two said. It's one of the best comics out there. I'm not talking just Transformer comics. I'm talking DC, IDW, Marvel, Image. This is one of the best series you're going to pick up. When I was doing Fanboy Versus, this is one that was one of those ones that we put like to a standard that we pretty much based a lot of the other comics on. Because we knew, well, this is what they can produce. Why aren't they producing this sometimes, you know? And again, if you don't know anything about Transformers, here's your perfect cast, because even Transformer fans, unless you're a McFeely, you really didn't know who a lot of these characters were, and you were coming in, and we were learning just like anyone else. And hey, you might come out with a favorite. You might not make it out of this story, but you'll still have a favorite. No, it's very well produced. The art is wonderful. The coloring is beautiful.
I know, man. Mad props to Josh. Mad props.
And I love the retro kind of like style covers that they came in as well. You know, the 3-tone covers.
The ones that Hutchinson
propaganda
did.
style one.
Yeah, the propaganda
that
ones.
Are sauce.
I love that. I mean, you're gonna come out liking something about it. If you don't, comics are not for you. Then I don't know what is. You know. So yeah, it's awesome. That's all. Yeah. Why are we talking about it? Because it's awesome.
Especially after 5 years later, we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we should allow people to read it and not like it, because I could see how it could be a little too much for some people. But I still think
but they're going to take something away from it, I'd still say.
Yeah, it's gonna, if nothing else, it's gonna make you go, ooh, wow, haha, ow, cry, think.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not in that order. Let's just say it's the thing that got me into podcasting. And here I am 5 years later, and I'm still loving it. So, and I'm definitely looking forward to, 3 weeks from now? Getting Sins of the Wreckers.
Yep.
The second sequel.
Yep.
So, are we going to talk about that on this podcast before we end, or?
Yeah,
we should
okay.
Pimp it
up. Wait,
after
stop.
these messages.
Wait, no, shut up. The second sequel?
No, it's the sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I heard you say the second sequel. I'm like, wait a second, what the hell?
I did.
But yes.
What did I say?
So, I don't know. We'll listen to it in post, folks. All right, so here's the thing. We have one more clip from the amazing Neil Ross as Springer. I wish I got him to do a few more lines from this, because when I and this is again behind the scenes stuff, folks, whatever. I know some people don't care about this, but initially when I sent him lines to read as Springer from Last End of the Wreckers, I had only really gotten up to the point where Springer introduces, himself and he introduces the Wreckers. I only got up to that page, and I had already asked the guy, so I wasn't going to sit there and go back and email again. Oh, can you also do this? Can you all, so I wasn't going to do that. But I got to the page in the book where it's like, your first day in the Wreckers might also be your last day in the Wreckers. I'm like, oh, damn, I really wish I got him to say that too. But here's the other line from Springer. Neil Ross, thank you so much. We will be back after this.
Turn up and shoot. Not as fancy as it gets with us Wreckers. You want to spend all day calculating tolerable margins of error? call Prowl.
But I want Wreckers, but I want hungry.
Hungry for Wreckers. Dude, while Mike is looking up stuff, I have a thing that I did not remember to say, and that is that Nick does amazing noses for showing character, and Springer's nose is amazingly broken.
I know, I was going to say, it looks like it's been
awesome.
broken a couple times. I had an art teacher back in college that had a nose just like that.
Yay. That's awesome.
And we're back. Okay, so the whole purpose of me even doing this and even going back and even reading this, besides out of sheer enjoyment, was because this November they are coming back. They're going to be debuting Transformers: Sins of the Wreckers, and I have
on the 18th.
First
November 18th, unless Diamond screws up the shipping or a volcano explodes.
Don't. Yeah. Shut
No,
up. Baby.
I'm not.
November 18th
It's
at
been
12
jinxed
o'clock
already.
when my shop opens. I'll just be like pounding on the door and be like, give me.
A little bit of background. I think when it was issue 2, when issue 2 came out, the original, there was a volcano that exploded in Iceland, and it delayed.
Oh, yeah.
This is why I say I hope a volcano doesn't explode.
Or do you remember when, like, the boat with all of the issues in it was involved in the strike at the docks?
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it was just
Yeah,
sitting there floating on the ocean, and I was like, I need my more than meets the eye. Come on, you guys, just unload the boat, please.
Okay, so Transformers: Sins of the Wreckers, number 1 of 5. The Wreckers return. Somebody's kidnapped Prowl, thank God. But does anybody want him back? A lifetime of messing with everybody's lives comes around to haunt him. Fortunately, he's always got a plan. In this case, the one team of brutal, broken heroes, the Wreckers.
The one group of people that he's screwed over the most.
The most, yeah. For bullet points for this one, we have the sequel to Last Stand of the Wreckers, one of the most acclaimed comics in Transformers history. Prowl gets his comeuppance. Features RC and Cup and the Wreckers. The secret history of Prowl revealed, leaving everybody hurt. And apparently Alex is going to be doing a variant cover.
And Springer needs to hit Prowl in the face again.
Dude, you guys
Just
should
like he
know
did
that
last time.
while Mike is reading this solicit, I can feel my stomach clenching and my shoulders slumping. I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna hurt.
Also, in November, when Sins gets released, IDW is going to offer we were talking about this earlier about cheap ways to find Last and Other Records. They're going to be offering both the trade paperback and the hardcover. The trade is going to be $20. The hardcover is going to be $30 in November.
Really? That's a whole lot more than what they're projecting on Amazon right now.
Although Amazon does tend to
I got it right off the media. Just looking at the document that IDW wrote up.
Okay, so quick, people, if you're listening to the sound of our voice, go on Amazon and get it. I know I'm such a cheap person. And I love IDW. They are definitely worth giving them the money, but if you can't afford it, because like I understand the whole cheap and can't afford much anyhow, then Amazon has got a really good price, so go get it there. Yeah. Sorry. I love you, IDW.
Well, the money still gets to them unless you're buying it used.
True.
Yeah.
So.
And then the money's getting to the people who bought it first time. So
Transformers: Last Stand of the Wreckers, number 2 of 5. Frosty reception: the Wreckers' journey to Nome, Alaska to track down the number 1 suspect in Prowl's disappearance, their former human ally, Verity.
Woohoo!
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Let's see. Bullet points for this one. I already read sequel to one of the most blah, 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 blah. The Autobots' greatest secret, Equitas, is in danger of being leaked, but who's to gain? Introducing the Chimericons.
Oh, nice. That'll be
We
interesting.
will find out.
That's issue number 3, and the final solicit we have is Sins of the Wreckers, number 3 of issue number 2. This is number 3. Secrets and Sins. Prowl's past, shrouded in mystery, begins to come to light, and the revelations aren't pretty. But to get a hold of the missing Autobot, the Wreckers will have to face the Noise Maze.
Uh,
No Cybertronian is safe, and no reader's heart will be unbroken.
Gosh, dang it,
So in
Nick.
other words, this is the issue where everything falls apart and you get to the end and go, why? Why? Right?
Exactly.
Caught in the web of lies and betrayals, written and obviously drawn by Nick Roche. Variant cover for this issue is going to be done by Priscilla.
Awesome.
So that's going to be interesting.
Priscilla's
So that
awesome.
is Sins. That is what's coming up for Sins of the Wreckers, the sequel to Last Stand of the Wreckers. Let's go around the room and rate the overall 5-issue trade, not counting the
Are
extra
you
bits.
serious?
Yes, I'm damn dead serious because I know what you're going to give it.
So don't ask me.
I still have to ask. 0 to 5 stars. What do you give it, Amy?
Why don't you ask everybody else first? Because
Oh,
I'm
come on.
stealing
I
way
just-
too much time here, you know.
Oh,
Well,
please.
Yes, go
come on.
first.
This is your thing, girlfriend. Just go ahead.
Hey,
Yeah.
all right,
Amy gives us 5.
Audience, what do you think I'm going to give it? And that will be the answer.
She's gonna give it a 6 out of 5 because
I legit was gonna say 5.5 because this breaks the scale for me. It legitimately breaks the scale because think about it. How often do we get an entire mini-series that is this quality throughout? I mean, every so often we'll be like, this issue of a series is really amazing, but this is 5 issues that are all killer good quality. And the entire story is paced really well, which doesn't always happen. And
True.
it's all drawn really well, and it's all colored really well, and the entire effect of the entire thing. I mean, there's also sometimes where we'll have an event or a miniseries where it wobbles either at the front or the back. There are no wobbles. The entire thing is ridiculously cohesive and powerful. It breaks the scale. I'm gesturing wildly to the empty room.
What she said.
That's cheating, Amy. Come on now.
Look, I have reviewed this so many times. I've done the written reviews. I've done the podcast reviews on like 4 different podcasts. I think this is my 5th podcast that I've been on. You know, when it gets to that point, it's kind of like, hey, can I say it any louder?
Like break your microphone screaming 5!
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. I don't have to say it. You guys are going to say it for me because I've already gushed about this on so many podcasts. My name, come on, it's in my name. You don't get named after the Wreckers unless you are totally in love and obsessed with the Wreckers. I am.
Nicole.
like I said, I it's one of the most awesome comics series of comics put together. As a series, I give it a 5.
Yeah. Same here. 5's all around.
Oh, that's a spoiler effect right there.
What?
/ sarcasm.
Oh, God. All right, folks. So we have a double shot of the pull bag this week. We have a special Thursday edition coming out tomorrow because Thursday, November 5th, 2015 marks the 60th anniversary since Doc Brown fell and hit his head and created the flux capacitor. Steve Megatron and myself will be reviewing IDW Publishing's Back to the Future #1 in episode 115 of the Pull Bag. And then after that, I think hopefully Joe Reed and I can get to TMNT issues 47 to 49 and then issue 50, I hope. So that's what's coming up inside the Pull Bag. Amy, where can the people find you online?
Best place to find me online right now is Twitter. That's where I usually stomp the most. And yeah, so you find me there, LadyWreck.
Nicole, what about you?
That's Beatlesdiva. Beatles like the band, not the bug. And if you want to find me anyplace else, just Google that.
Heather, what about
There's
you?
only one Beatlesdiva.
Well done. And there's only one Ha-Hee Prime. And yeah, so go find me on Facebook, Heather Smith, Ha-Hee Prime. Go find me on DeviantArt, Ha-Hee Prime. I'm on Twitter, but good luck. Like, I mean, you can talk to me and I will get the message, but I never tweet.
Eventually. Yeah.
No, because I check my email more often, and it always emails me. It's like, guess what? Someone talked to you, and I like fall over, and then I go, oh my gosh, somebody talked to me. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, you always tweet back to me when I tweet to you.
Like I say, I will get your message. I just never send anything out. Yeah,
Apparently she has checked Twitter more often because she's worried for James.
Well, yeah. No, talk to me on Facebook because Facebook lets me type as many blinking characters as I want, and that's why I can't do Twitter. Because as you may have noticed, I'm fairly verbose.
See, if you just confine yourself to the 180 characters, you actually learn how to use them.
You just gave it 40 more than what it is.
It like physically pains me to try to get.
It's short and sweet works for me. I don't have that much time.
I just have way too much to say. I'm like, I have stuff to say and it's important.
And everything you say is so unique too, so I'm kind of glad.
Unique is definitely one word for it.
You can find me on Twitter at TFG and Mike. You can find the Pullbag on Twitter and Facebook. Just search the Pullbag, as well as GeekCast Radio Network on Facebook and at GeekCast Radio on Twitter. Until next time, make your great escape into comics. We'll catch you later.
You made it, Mike! You made it!
At least it's not 3 a.m. like it normally is.
Oh, man.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullbag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching GeekCast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCast Radio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.